The yes left her mouth before the question even finished. "Of course," she said. "No problem at all." And as she said it, something inside her went quiet. The way a door closes in a house when you are too tired to hear it. She had not wanted to say yes. She had not even paused to consider it. Her body had answered for her, on autopilot, like a reflex, like blinking. The man on the other end of the line said, "Thank you, you are a lifesaver," and hung up. And she stood there holding her phone, looking at a calendar that already had no room in it, having just given away the last empty evening of her week to someone who would never, not once, have given her his. If you know this feeling, you already know the strangest part of it. It is not that she was kind. Kindness is a choice, and there had been no choice in that room. It is that somewhere along the way, the word no had stopped being a word and had become a threat. This is the psychology of people who cannot say no. And over the next few minutes, we are going to walk through why the yes became automatic, what it is really protecting, the quiet price it charges, and the precise, calm, almost feline way out of it. Stay with me, because the fourth part of this is the one that changes everything. Her name was Nora, but this story is not really about Nora. It is about a pattern, and if you have the pattern, you will see yourself in her within the next minute. Nora was the person everyone called first. The one who covered the shift, carried the box, planned the event, listened to the long phone call at midnight. People described her with words like amazing and so helpful, and I do not know what we would do without her. And every one of those compliments landed on her like a soft weight, adding to a pile she could never put down. Because here is what nobody saw. After every yes, there was a small internal invoice. A quiet line of resentment, written in a ledger she never showed anyone. Resentment is what happens when you give what was not freely chosen. And Nora's ledger was getting long. She had a cat named Ash. A black cat, unbothered, precise. And without realizing it, Nora had started watching him the way you watch someone who has a skill you were never taught. Ash said no all day. He said no to being picked up when he did not want to be held. He said no to food he did not like, to rooms he did not want to enter, to guests he did not want to meet. He never explained himself. He never apologized. He never offered a smaller yes to soften the no. He simply was not available. And then, when he chose to be, he appeared on her lap like a gift. And here is the thing that kept her up at night. The more the cat refused her, the more she loved him. His no did not push her away. It made his yes worth something. So why could she not do the same? The answer starts early, the way these things always do. Somewhere in childhood, Nora learned that love in her house had conditions on it, and the main condition was being easy. Easy to manage, easy to please, never difficult, never a problem. The children who get praised as good are very often not the happy children. They are the compliant ones. The ones who learned that the fastest way to be safe was to be useful, and the fastest way to be loved was to be needed. Psychologists call the adult version of this the fawn response. You have heard of fight and flight and freeze. Fawn is the fourth one, the quiet one. When conflict feels dangerous, some nervous systems do not argue and do not run. They appease, they agree, they smooth it over. They say, of course, no problem, do not worry about it, while something inside goes very still. It is not weakness. It is a survival strategy that worked beautifully when she was small and dependent, and that is now running her adult life like outdated software. Her brain had one rule underneath all the others. If they are upset with me, I am not safe. So every no felt like a small act of danger. Every yes felt like safety, even when the yes was destroying her. And it was destroying her, slowly, in the way water destroys stone. Not with one dramatic moment, but with 10,000 small ones. The breaking point was not dramatic either. It was a Tuesday. She sat in her car outside her own building after a day of 11 yeses, and she could not make herself turn the key and go inside. There was nothing wrong with the car. There was nothing wrong with the building. There was simply nothing left of her to carry up the stairs. She sat there for 40 minutes in the dark, and for the first time in years, she asked herself a question she had been trained never to ask. Who is actually living my life because it is not me? Every yes to them had been a no to her, a no to rest, a no to her own plans, a no to the person she was when nobody was watching. She had spent her whole life being generous with a currency she never earned back, and she was broke. That night she went upstairs, and Ash appeared on her lap, warm and unbothered, having refused 3 of her attempts to call him, and chosen this moment himself. And she understood something about him that she had been circling for months. The cat was not selfish. He was simply honest about his limits. He never promised what he did not have. He never pretended to be available when he was not. His boundaries were not walls against people. They were the shape of himself, and because the shape was clear, everyone around him knew exactly where he ended and they began. People who cannot say no believe the opposite. They believe their value is in their availability, that if they stop being useful, they will stop being loved. But watch what actually happens in real life. The person who says yes to everything becomes the person whose time is worth nothing. Because nothing is scarce that is always given. The person who is never free is never prioritized. You do not rise in the eyes of others by making yourself endlessly available. You sink. Here is the cruel arithmetic. The more she said yes, the less they respected her time, and the less she respected it herself. The yes that was meant to buy love was quietly selling her worth. So what changed? Not a personality transplant. Not a sudden confidence. A system. Calm, precise, strategic. The same way a cat does not fight for its boundaries, it simply has them. The first piece was the pause. Nora made one rule. She would never answer a request in the moment it was made. Not yes, not no. Her new default sentence became, "Let me check and get back to you." That single sentence broke the autopilot. It put 24 hours between the reflex and the answer. And in that space, for the first time, she could hear her own voice underneath the reflex. Most requests, she noticed, lost their urgency within a day. The people asking were not desperate. They were simply asking the person who never says no. The second piece was the small no. She did not start with the big, terrifying one. She started tiny. No to a call she did not want to take. No to a plan she did not want to join. She learned that the guilt arrived every time, loud and familiar, and that it peaked and then passed, like a wave, every single time. The guilt was not a signal that she was doing something wrong. It was just old wiring, complaining about being rewired. The third piece was the most important, and it is the one most people get wrong. She stopped explaining. A no with 3 reasons is not a boundary. It is an invitation to negotiate. Every explanation is a handle someone can grab and pull. The cat does not give reasons, and neither did she anymore. No, I cannot this time. That is a complete sentence. It felt impossible at first. It felt rude. And then she noticed something astonishing. People accepted the short no faster than they had ever accepted the long excuse. Certainty is respected. Justification is not. And the fourth piece, the one that holds all the others together, was this. She accepted that some people would be disappointed, and she stopped treating their disappointment as her emergency. Their feelings were real, and they were also not her responsibility to manage. A boundary that only exists when everyone is comfortable with it is not a boundary. It is a suggestion. The first real no came on a Thursday. A colleague asked her to take on a project that was not hers, the way he always did, already half assuming it. Old Nora would have said of course before he finished. New Nora felt the reflex rise, and she let the pause do its work, and she said, "I cannot take this on." Silence. 2 full seconds. Her heart hammering like she had done something dangerous. And then he said, "Okay, no problem. I will ask someone else." And he walked away, and the ceiling did not fall. The room did not turn on her. He was not even upset. He had simply been asking, because asking had always worked. That night, Ash slept on her chest, heavy and warm. A small master of the art she was only beginning to learn. And she lay there understanding, finally, what he had been showing her all along. Saying no does not make you cold. It makes you real. It does not push the right people away. It filters them. The ones who only loved your availability will leave, and that is not a loss. That is a cleaning. The ones who love you will adjust and respect you more, because people trust what has a shape. You were not put on this earth to be an open door for everyone else's emergencies. You were put here to live one life, your life, and every yes you hand out for free is a piece of that one life you will never get back. So here is the only thing I want to leave you with. The next time someone asks you for something you do not want to give, do not answer yet. Take the pause. Check the ledger. And remember the cat who never once explained himself and was loved completely anyway. A calm no said once is worth more than 1,000 exhausted yeses. Before you go, write this in the comments. What is the last thing you said yes to that you wanted to say no to? Name it below. Not to fix it, just to see it clearly for the first time. Master your mind. Master your life. I will see you in the next one.